And a Jerusalem magistrate's court issued a ruling Sunday in favor of 3 Jewish teens who recited a prayer on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Currently, there is a status quo maintained on the Temple Mount, an informal agreement which allows Jews to visit the holy site but not to pray there. Joining me with more on this controversial ruling is public diplomacy expert and attorney Bar-Yoshafat. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So does this ruling now set a precedent that Jews will now see as a sign to be able to go and pray on the Temple Mount?
So on one hand, it is a positive sign for those who believe in freedom of religion for all, including Jews. On the other hand, well, firstly, this is not entirely new. In October 2021, Judge Bilhaya Alom said something similar. And lastly, it is still very vague. Can Jews pray in a group, in a minyan? Are they allowed to bow down and pray? Yesterday, Judge Zion Sahari said that Jews can say the Shema prayer, but today the police detained the person because he bowed. So it's still unclear how much it's going to affect the future.
Now, what are the implications of the judge's decision?
So I think it's too soon to say. It is, again, one step forward for those who are open to real freedom of religion. But if this ruling is a game changer, my guess is that this ruling by itself is not very significant.
Not very significant, but the court is receiving a lot of backlash against this ruling, also from the Israeli police. Can you explain why that's the case?
So the argument is that Jews that pray are a threat to the public order and peace. I have a very hard time accepting that. The legal guideline is that when you're meant to protect the person who is not violent from the people who are violent, and not the other way around. And it is not really clear here, because if Jews who are praying on Temple Mount are certainty for violence, then I don't think the Jews are the ones to be blamed. The violent people are those who are responsible for this, and they're the ones who should be arrested, and not those who are praying in the holiest place for the Jews.
Now, there's backlash not only from within Israel, but also Jordan speaking out against the ruling, saying it goes against international law. Is this, in fact, the case?
I'm sorry, I have no idea how they can argue it is against international law. It seems maybe for some people in the world, the mere existence of Jews is a crime, especially Jews who pray, but I cannot really take this argument seriously. However, they do have one good solid claim, and that is that on Temple Mount, Israel doesn't really have full sovereignty because it's under the Jordanian Waqf. So the lesson that I get from this is this, very different. In Israel, everyone has full equal rights and freedom of religion. Whatever is not under Israeli sovereignty doesn't. So it seems that Jordan is the one that's violating not only international law, but also is violating human rights by not allowing Jews to pray. By the way, not just Jews, also Christians.
And yet when Jews do go onto the Temple Mount, which, as you say, is under Jordanian jurisdictions, what happens when they do, in fact, go there to pray?
So that's $1 million question, because it's not certain. So today they detained a person because that person bowed when he was praying. And yesterday, Judge Zion said that Jews are allowed to say the Shema. So on one hand, you can see that there is a line that says, yes, it's not a crime for Jews to pray on their holiest place in the world. But on the other hand, you do see that they're detaining the Jews because they want to maintain some sort of public order.
And what is set to happen now? Because I understand that the prosecution intends to appeal this case.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. Today, Deputy Minister of Economy, MK Yair Golan, said that it's not up to the court to decide such matters. It is up to the public with the Knesset. And I agree with him 100%. It's just very interesting. It's coming from someone from the Meretz party who always tries to give more strength to the judicial branch. But I agree. At the end of the day, this is a question of policy. The law, by the way, does not prohibit Jews from praying there. It's not like the Jews who are praying there are doing something that's not legal. The police has a right to say, we're worried about what will happen if you will pray there. It might cause some riots. And again, in my opinion, that doesn't go with any guideline of any Western legal system. You're not supposed to arrest the person who's not doing anything. You're supposed to arrest the person who's violent and not allowing other people to have freedom of religion. But the question is, should this be something that will be solved in the court of law, or should it be solved within the public and in the Knesset? And I think that the latter is the correct answer.
in the Knesset. And yet this is such a major decision. And again, as you mentioned, has real implications in terms of the status quo. Currently, it's in the court system. Will we eventually see it reaching the highest court? And will we see it perhaps passing over to the Knesset, as you suggested?
It doesn't contradict. The Supreme Court of Israel has two hats. One hat is that if you appeal and then you want to you disagree with the decision that was made on a Mechozi court, then it goes to the Supreme Court. And the other hat that the Supreme Court has is Bagatz, the High Court of Justice. When that happens if you have an appeal that's something that's for the whole state, or it's something with some sort of constitutional colors to it. So that's why you would appeal to that. So it doesn't contradict, but at the end of the day, who should decide if Jews should be allowed to pray on Temple Mount? In my opinion, the answer is the people of Israel, which is being represented in the Israeli parliament, in the Knesset. But it doesn't contradict. It can be that it would be a discussion within the Israeli parliament, and they would legislate the law to clarify, even though that's the situation right now today in Israel, but just to clarify that everyone can pray wherever he or she wants to. And at the same time, someone might appeal to the Supreme Court to say this is a constitutional matter, and we want the Supreme Court to give a decision to say, yes, Jews are allowed to pray wherever they want to.
All right, Bar-Yoshafat, thank you so much for taking the time to clarify these important points.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
ILTV Plus, your news from Israel and more 24/7. Start your free trial today. Subscribe at iltv.tv and watch from any device.